90-degree heat of Brazil, it's good news time. The start of another 16-race Grand Prix World Championship season. A season in which the racing should be closer than ever, with new rules designed to level the performance of the turbo cars which dominated last year's racing and their non-turbocharged rivals. A season, too, in which there are a host of changes to the Grand Prix teams. At Lotus, Ayrton Senna has been replaced by three-times world champion Nelson Piquet, and Nelson seems happy with his new car.
Much.
I'm coming that corner. No, I come complete stop. You know? I put the power.
The McLaren driver lineup is the strongest of all, with Ayrton Senna joining the brilliant Alain Prost. And with the power and reliability of Honda turbocharged engines behind them, the McLaren men are going to be very hard to beat. Williams 1987 was Mansell and Piquet. Now it's Mansell and Patrese with the new Judd V8 engine. So, anything to worry clean-shaven Nigel Mansell?
Well, nothing really. I think what you're saying is that, certainly that we're perhaps a little bit of the underdog this year, not having a turbo engine. But what I will say is that we've got a fantastic new car, the 12. Everything about it is new, the gearbox and the engine, and I feel that hopefully on some circuits we'll be able to give people a few surprises. We'll certainly be trying anyway.
There's a new British driver in Grand Prix this year, Julian Bailey, in the Tyrrell team with Jonathan Palmer, top man in last year's atmospheric class. Whilst Derek Warwick stays with Arrows to drive their Megatron-powered turbo car. At Benetton, Fabi goes and Nannini arrives, and there's a new Ford V8 engine. After finishing 1987 at the top, Ferrari start the season with a developed version of last year's car, and two of the sport's top drivers, Alboreto and Berger. Ligier have got a dramatically different new car. It has a 3.5-litre Judd atmospheric engine. It has a petrol tank behind the engine, as well as one in front. It has power steering, and Stefan Johansson is joining Ligier to drive with René Arnoux. Virtually every team has got an all-new car, and there are 4 new teams: Coloni, Eurobrunn, Dallara and Real. Prophecies? No, I'm not making any prophecies, except to say that the racing this year is going to be closer than ever, and that we're in for a lot of surprises. Pole position on the grid, Ayrton Senna. And in the warm-up today, and the warm-up is the final half hour of practice when you see cars in actual race condition for the first time, Senna was also fastest. Nigel Mansell second on the grid, and he was 5th fastest in the warm-up this morning. World champion Alain Prost twice over, 3rd on the grid, 4th in the warm-up this morning. Gerhard Berger in the turbocharged Ferrari was 4th on the grid, 6th fastest in the warm-up this morning. So 3 turbos and 1 normally aspirated engined car in the top 4 on the grid. This is the second start of the 1988 Brazilian Grand Prix. At the end of the first parade lap, Ayrton Senna in the McLaren in pole position had some sort of major problem. Up went his hands, and that usually signifies that he'd stalled the engine. We don't know, but we do know that Ivan Capelli in the March had got smoke pouring out of the back. It looked as though he wasn't going to start, and Oscar Larori, the Argentine driver in the Eurobrunn, had got a major problem as well. So the start was aborted, and let's hope they get away this time. Unfortunately, Julian Bailey, the British driver, trying to compete in his first Grand Prix, failed to qualify. Both Ayrton Senna, pole position on the grid and fastest in the warm-up today, and Ivan Capelli will be starting last from the pit lane. To the right for the second start, Nigel Mansell in what is now effectively pole position. To the left in the red and white car, third officially but second on the grid now, Alain Prost. And Alain Prost, who is starting as number 11, has already won the Brazilian Grand Prix 4 times, 1982, 4, 5 and last year. And the new McLaren MP4 was tremendously fast at Imola in the testing, and it's away. The 1988 Grand Prix season is on, and Nigel Mansell leads down towards the first right-hander, but not for long, because Prost is up into second place. There's the Ferrari striking sparks. Berger challenging Nigel Mansell, and then Nelson Piquet in the yellow Lotus. So it is now Prost, Mansell, Berger, Piquet. Boutsen is up into fifth place, behind him Nannini in sixth position. The normally aspirated engine cars are already going well, and Alain Prost, the tremendously experienced 28 times Grand Prix winner, is making a break for it. If he can build a cushion, he's going to be in a commanding position. Tyre wear in this race means they'll stop at least once. Here's a replay of the start. You see them go down to the right-hander there, and it's Nigel Mansell temporarily in the lead.
And there is Gugelman, the new driver for March, has obviously had a very short race.
Ayrton Senna on lap 2 is up to 19th, but look at the battle between Michele Alboreto in the red Ferrari, who's in 5th position, and the two 3.5 litre Benettons.
There is Boutsen having a look, and Alboreto is keeping the door shut, defending the place.
That is Patrese's car. Riccardo Patrese in the Williams is out of the Brazilian Grand Prix on lap 7. Patrese out then. I obviously don't know what the trouble is. I can't see down from here, but I can tell you, as you've just seen for yourself, that Patrese is out on lap 7. So that's Maurizio Gugelmin in the March out on lap 2. Patrese out on lap 7. Race order, lap 7. It's Alain Prost leading with a very comfortable margin, and Boutsen now. Is Boutsen going to get through? He's got the line. He's through on the left-hander, and Boutsen moves up. But now it will be Berger's chance when they get out of the twisty bit to wind up the power and go for it.
Yes, the straight coming up now, of course, gives Alboreto a chance, a possible chance. Here we see it again. He was just that much, a good bit quicker through the left-hander there, and holds the line for the corner.
As you were looking at Boutsen, James, Nannini is out of the race. Bad news for Thierry Boutsen. Not that he'll know it, of course, unless they tell him on the radio from the pit. But now, in 6th position, Ayrton Senna. On my stopwatch, the news that Nigel Mansell is catching Berger. We're concentrating on the battle between Piquet, Boutsen and Senna, but Nigel Mansell in 3rd position in the leading atmospheric car, chasing second place man Gerhard Berger in the Ferrari, is closing. So there's Tarquini about to be engulfed by the Lotus of Piquet, the Benetton of Boutsen and the McLaren of Ayrton Senna, who is 6th. Easing up to the Benetton, looking for an opportunity, watching the line that Boutsen takes, seeing where he changes gear, seeing where he brakes, ready to brake and go through and take 5th place, he hopes.
Yes, it's marginal whether Senna's actually close enough now to attack on the long straight. What Boutsen, of course, has to do around this twisty back section is go absolutely flat chat to try and keep enough space. And there you can see the throttle lag effect then on Senna as he was shaken about in the car as the pad shows when to come in, and Senna makes it past. So Ayrton Senna moves up into 5th place, and now the deadly rivalry with Nelson Piquet. We come now, we see that again from above, and that was very straightforward. You can see the considerable speed advantage of the turbocharged car.
And Alboreto is into the pits on lap 17 out of 60. He was, I remind you, in 7th position behind, at the time, Ayrton Senna, and Senna has made up places since then. He's now 5th ahead of Boutsen. Here he is. Ayrton Senna had nothing to prove in terms of driving ability before this race began, but how marvellously he has competed, going up from 26th now to 5th position. Now he can see Nelson Piquet in front of him. Piquet will know he's there. Senna is going through. 4th position for the McLaren of Ayrton Senna, and he disposed of Nelson Piquet with absolutely no problem.
Yes, and you see Boutsen dropping back there. Here we see it again. And just inside line for the corner at the end of the straight, just a dab on the brakes, and Senna moves up. And Boutsen appears to be slowing down a bit, and I think Boutsen's in tyre trouble. I noticed about 2 laps ago that one of his fronts looked a bit scruffy, but we haven't had a decent close-up since then. And but I think that must be right, because he would appear to be struggling to hold on now. There we get a good look at Senna's car, and of course it will be a matter of big interest in the pits now, what Alboreto's tyres looked like and what sort of condition they were in. Goodyear will be doing a rapid assessment and then informing the other teams of what they think is the right thing to do. So there will be a quick post-mortem going on over the tyres that came off Alboreto's car.
With Nigel Mansell in the pits as I talk to you, here he is. Now let's see how long this pit stop is. The left front was a bit difficult to get off. Now 7 or 8 seconds is par for the course for a really good stop. This is the first Williams pit stop of 1988, and there's a problem. This is appallingly slow in modern Grand Prix terms. It looks to me as though they've got the usual Brazil problem, rubbish in the side pods. That affected a lot of cars last year. The spectators bung all sorts of muck onto and around the circuit. It gets picked up, and this is awful for Newton.
Well, he turned the engine off, I think, or stalled it. Yes, they're now trying to start it again, and of course a very hot engine is not always easy to start. And I think, for whatever reason, the engine stopped, and they're now stuck to restart it. So, what a cruel blow for Nigel Mansell. Things were going very well, but whatever the outcome of this, I think he'll be very pleased with the way his chassis performed and the promise of the form to come during the season.
And meantime, there is the new 3rd place man, Ayrton Senna, with that cruel blow to Nigel Mansell. I don't know whether he stalled the engine or whether it stopped. I remember last year, Piquet stalled the engine, and after the race he said, I didn't stall it, it stopped. Well, maybe that's happened to Nigel Mansell. Whatever the reason, he has lost 3rd position to Ayrton Senna. And that is Berger, who was in 2nd place in the pits, getting away as Senna comes through. Now, this is going to be interesting.
So Senna is up into 2nd place.
That is the Lotus of Nelson Piquet in the pits. Out goes the Brazilian. Now on lap 21 out of 60, just over 1/3 distance. In the lead is still Alain Prost. In 2nd place, the man you're looking at, Ayrton Senna. In 3rd position is Thierry Boutsen in the Benetton, and in 4th place it's Berger, who has stopped for tyres. And Nigel Mansell is still in the pits. Sadly, it looks as though his Brazilian Grand Prix is over. Into the pits comes Nakajima, the Japanese driver. Going much better here at Brazil than he did last year. He was in 9th position when he came into the pits.
Now I see Prost's right rear just marking up a little bit his rear tyres, and I would think that if McLaren are going to make one tyre stop, they will be doing that fairly soon. They're getting towards about half distance on tyre wear. It could be that they're trying to go all the way through. Remember, they will have had the opportunity of, and he's in. Talking of that, he's straight in exactly on schedule, as expected. So we'll have a look and try and get a time on Prost's stop. It's quite a slow pit stop here, not actually at the pits, but getting in and out because of that twisty entrance to the pits you saw. That's a little bit slower than at some other circuits. Because remember, of course, the overall time, we've got to include the decelerating and accelerating. That's a 12-second stop, not nearly as quick as Ferrari stopped with Berger, but they got plenty in hand.
Alain Prost is still leading the Brazilian Grand Prix as he has exited the pits, and that puts him in a tremendously strong position. Here is Ayrton Senna. Now he's being followed by the two Minardis, the black cars with the 4 DFE engines, and then it's Berger.
Yes, well, you'd expect Berger to have an advantage now, being on fresh tyres, and there is Senna going into his tyres. And, of course, Berger was being helped by the traffic Senna was stuck in. Now, Senna might have thought, well, he couldn't have come in the lap before because Prost was in. So, but, of course, I would expect when he emerges from the pits that he'll be markedly quicker than Berger.
Prost's stop was just about 12 seconds, and Senna is already well over that. That board is being held in front of him by Ron Dennis, the head man at McLaren. There's some sort of dialogue going on between them. And Senna, has he stored? Yes, he stored his engine. And they've got the starter at the back there. He's frantically gesticulating them to get the car going. And this is an appalling stop for Senna, 32 seconds. Senna has rejoined the race, I can tell you, in 6th position behind Thierry Boutsen. Turbocharged McLaren leads, turbocharged Ferrari 2nd, turbocharged Lotus 3rd, turbocharged Ferrari 4th, normally aspirated Benetton with the 4 DFR engine of Boutsen in 5th position, and in 6th place the turbo, and Senna, that's number 12, Senna is being shown the black flag. This is amazing, I don't know the reason. Senna sees the black flag, and that means you've got to come in. What an awful, well, it's not a dilemma for Senna, because there is no argument. If they show you the black flag, that's it.
Prost starting to extend his lead over Berger again, and looking very, very comfortable. But no, the dilemma that faces the driver when you're black flagged, of course, is if it's something that the organisers shouldn't be black flagging you for, and you lose places in a race by coming in and discussing it, and points and everything, that can then not be undone, and therefore there's a natural reluctance to come in until you know that there's some really good and proper reason to come in.
Well, Senna black flagged. I don't know why. He's ignored it on the first lap. Now he's come in. The car looks perfectly okay to me. James, any thoughts?
Well, I would think it go back to the start of the race would be more likely. I couldn't see anything wrong that they did in the pits during his stop. So maybe he infringed a regulation then. After all, the cars had been flagged away on the green flag on the warm-up lap, and he came in and then he went to switch cars. And it could well be that that is not allowed, as the race in some ways is technically underway. He started the race in his race car, and therefore it's too late to make a change. That's the only thing that I can think of.
Well, if that's the case, bitter luck for Ayrton Senna. We'll know the reason later, but the car looks okay. There goes Boutsen ahead of Alboreto. As I was talking to you about Senna, Boutsen in the Benetton has moved up into 4th place.
There we see again Thierry Boutsen sneaking by Alboreto in an identical manoeuvre to the one he made earlier in the race.
Prost leads, Berger 2nd. You can see the gap now, 21 seconds. Prost is very comfortably there ahead of Berger, with Piquet 3rd, Boutsen 4th, and in 5th position it is Michele Alboreto ahead of in 6th place on his way to 1 World Championship point, Derek Warwick in the Arrows. That's Alboreto in the pits. This gives Derek Warwick the chance, who is in 6th position, to move up and take a place. Didn't see the time. I didn't start my stopwatch when he came in, so I can't tell you what Alboreto's time was, but there didn't seem to be any problem. Over the line to complete another lap comes Alain Prost, and with 20 seconds or so between him and Gerhard Berger, Prost goes into the right-hander. This is called Ritorno. It's a third gear, 145 mile an hour corner. Nelson Piquet into the pits, 3rd position. Slowish pit stops thus far. This is Piquet's 2nd stop. He stopped 3 times last year, but that's a lovely stop. That's the best of the day. 7.8 seconds. That will have helped Piquet, who had got boots and started to close on him in 4th position. But he had to stop a 2nd time, of course, and with Piquet, now I can tell you that Piquet has lost that 3rd position coming into the pits as he stopped for tyres. Boutsen went rocketing past the pits up into 3rd position. Race order, lap 43, leading Alain Prost, catching him is number 28 in the red Ferrari, Gerhard Berger. Up into 3rd place, Thierry Boutsen in the Benetton. Down into 4th place, Nelson Piquet. In 5th position there, Derek Warwick. In 6th position, Nakajima. And out goes Alio. That is the 2nd Lola out of the race. A very unhappy Brazilian Grand Prix. And there is Berger into the pits. So that's blown it for him. 7.4 seconds, a very, very good stop. And despite that stop, he's still in 2nd place behind Alain Prost. There is Nakajima getting away from the pits after an 11-second pit stop. All the pit crews are a bit rusty after last year. If I could change all my 4 tyres and wheels in 11 seconds, I would think I was no end of a chap, but you need to do it in about 8 seconds to be on the pace in Grand Prix racing. That's Alboreto. Race order, lap 46. Still the indomitable Alain Prost leads. Still, I confirm, Gerhard Berger is 2nd. Still in 3rd position is Thierry Boutsen. Berger 1:32.9 has broken the lap record. New lap record for Gerhard Berger, 1 minute 32.9 seconds, and he is really setting about now the McLaren in front of him, which means to say that Berger must be happy about his fuel consumption.
Yes, of course, he's taking advantage of the fresh rubber, and that will give him obviously a little bit of extra grip for the first 3 or 4 laps. But Prost, of course, now, courtesy of only making the 1 pit stop, Prost has a very big lead indeed. He's pretty comfortable, lots of room to manoeuvre. He can save a bit of fuel now to keep a little bit in hand for a sprint finish at the end in the event that Berger gets close. But I think you just keep cruising along, looking after the car, and just trying to get it to the finish without any drama.
And you're seeing Nelson Piquet there in 5th position, closing on Derek Warwick and about to take him. And Boutsen is in 3rd place, and both these cars, Derek Warwick in the Arrows, Piquet in the Lotus, goes through. Nelson Piquet moves up there in 4th position and passes Boutsen. Boutsen goes up into 3rd position in Warwick. And so in one move, virtually, Nelson Piquet moves from 5th to 4th by passing Warwick. There it is again. There he goes past Warwick, and he goes past Boutsen at the same time as Derek Warwick goes through. So, new race order on the 46th lap. In the lead is Prost. In 2nd place is Berger. In 3rd position now is the man you're looking at, Nelson Piquet. In 4th position, with a really brave piece of passing, Derek Warwick has displaced Thierry Boutsen, pushed him down to 5th position. In 6th position, it is the 2nd Ferrari of Michele Alboreto. Well, what about that? And in the process, that means to say, of course, that turbocharged cars are now 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Down to 5th goes the first normally aspirated 3.5 litre engined car in the background of Thierry Boutsen. And if Piquet's got anything left in the new Lotus 100T designed by Frenchman Ducar Rouge, powered by Honda, now is the time to produce it. 65 seconds behind Prost, and with Prost leading by nearly half a minute, surely only a mechanical problem can deny him his 5th Grand Prix victory here in Brazil. And as far as we're concerned, it's still 61 racing laps. So the fact that they've done an extra lap in a situation where they were expected to do 61 laps on a very tight fuel allowance and will now be having to do 62 could be very significant indeed in the closing stages of the race.
Yes, except of course that it is the same for both of them, so they'll both be on the limit for fuel. They will both have done the same difference. It might just mean they'll have to be a little more conservative, but it seems to me that without mechanical problems, Prost is still very much in command of the race. And there is Jonathan Palmer just coasting into the pit road and looking like he's not going to be able to quite coast to his pit.
Boutsen's got a problem. I can see Boutsen has been taken by Michele Alboreto. You're looking at Prost in the lead, now only 18 seconds ahead of Berger, who is gaining at the rate of 2 seconds a lap. In 2nd position, Berger, as I say. In 3rd position, Piquet, and you see the gap between Piquet and Warwick is 3 seconds, so Warwick in 4th position. In 5th position, Alboreto. In 6th position, Boutsen. Over the line goes Alain Prost, watching his fuel gauge, no doubt having a conversation with the pits. Excellent radio system. And what the important thing is the gap between Prost and Berger. Is it coming down? It's come down from 32 seconds to 18 seconds already. It's 15 seconds. Berger's gone through. He's taken 3 seconds off Prost. Alain Prost, the winner in 1982, 4, 5 and 7 here at Brazil. Nobody knows this circuit better than him. Very, very few know it as well, half as well. Berger's in his 53rd Grand Prix. Prost is in his 122nd. But Berger is not the sort of bloke who's going to be rattled, is not the sort of bloke who's going to try too hard at the expense of fuel consumption to catch Prost. He'll be pacing himself, as will Prost, who is catching the Benetton now of Boutsen, who is in 6th position. There's Boutsen, 6th.
Yes, Prost won't want to be held up at all with Berger closing that gap, although I still get the feeling that that Prost has got the situation under control, unless he's having a bit of trouble with his tyres. He's committed now with Berger at that range. He's got to stay out there to the end of the race on the rubber that he's got, and it may just be getting a bit tired. And there is Berger, and that gap is really coming down.
Down to 10 seconds, 10 seconds. I took them as they went across the line. Berger is 10 seconds behind Prost now. Prost leads, Berger 2nd, Piquet 3rd. The race is really just between the first two. 4th is Derek Warwick. Great stuff on his way to 3 points. 5th is Michele Alboreto. 6th is Boutsen, who you've just seen and who has been lapped. In 7th position is Nakajima. Both the Lotus cars going extremely well. Over the line goes Berger. Another lap completed. That's 55 laps completed by both Prost and Berger. And the experienced Alain Prost is really responding. That's what I mean. Differentia to 10.284 seconds between Alain Prost, race leader, and Gerhard Berger in the Ferrari, number 28. But it's going to be a very close run thing in Brazil. And Nakajima is up into 6th position. So both the Lotus cars are in the top 6. Both the Ferraris are in the top 6. And on lap 59, Alboreto is catching Derek Warwick. And the race order, as Alain Prost completes his 59th lap. 1 lap to go. As I suspected, the race length is being reduced. Alain Prost leads by some 11 seconds from Gerhard Berger. In third position, Nelson Piquet. Fourth, Warwick. Fifth, Alboreto. And in sixth position, Nakajima.
Yes, it does look as if this is the last lap. There was an official at the start line signalling 1 lap to go. Very, very impressive debut for the new McLaren. There was a bit of a panic getting the car ready. They were sort of changing and modifying the design right up till the last minute. Over the last month, the McLaren team have burnt a great deal of midnight oil to get this car out, and it went beautifully straight out of the box, and it's a tremendous achievement to have got it, well, to get it to the finish line in its debut race when they were still really testing the car during practice this weekend. And another fine, masterly drive by Alain Prost.
Prost is on his way to a magnificent 5th Brazilian Grand Prix victory in 8 years, and he takes it. Alain Prost wins for McLaren. The double world champion stops immediately on the line, and that says to me that his fuel was as low as it could possibly be, because he's not even prepared to go on for the rundown lap. And so, confirmation that the Brazilian Grand Prix, the first Grand Prix of 1988, has been won by the brilliant Alain Prost in the brand new McLaren MP4/4. In second place in the Ferrari, Austrian Gerhard Berger, 6 points. In third position, Nelson Piquet. In fourth position for Britain and for Arrows, Derek Warwick. In fifth position, Michele Alboreto in the second Ferrari. In sixth position, Nakajima in the second Lotus. And that is a very significant race for 1988. McLaren at the top and Prost at the top.
I was also very lucky today, for sure. But I think it's not only because of me, I think it's also because of my team, because they're able to build fantastic cars and just put the cars on the track 1 or 2 weeks before the race and then be able to win the race. So it's, I think I know the track very well, and I don't do too many mistakes, but I think their ability to build cars and be competitive very quickly is unbelievable.
I had no chance straight from the beginning to catch Alain, and so I do my own race. I just push every lap and go quite a good race. I had to stop twice, and 10 laps before the end, or 15 laps before the end, it looks like Alain has a problem. So I tried hard to catch him, but then I saw there's no way, and then I just finished the race.
Today my setup was much better, so I think we can also improve the car very much. The engine is going to be improved too, and I think it's if you start like that with a complete new car, I think you can say already that the season is going to be good for us.
So, a wonderful race and success for Alain Prost, but now here is at last news about why Ayrton Senna was black flagged. The reason was that he got into the spare car whilst he was under starter's orders. Now, the rules say that if the race had been declared to be a new one, he would have been okay. But it was Senna's bad luck that it was only a delayed start. So that brilliant drive was all for nothing. So now from Brazil to the San Marino Grand Prix, from South America to Italy, May the 1st, the second Grand Prix of the year. Join us on Grand Prix and see.